Hi there, this is Eli. Wanted to jump in here real quick and say thank you to everybody who has been listening to Dandies in Danger. We really appreciate you, the audience, and everything you've done for us. We also wanted to give an extra special thank you to our top tier patrons, Mies, Sean Miller, and Nicole. Thank you so much for your support, without which we wouldn't be able to do what we do here. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, here's what we can offer you. For $1, you can get monthly outtakes. For $5, you can get behind-the-scenes letters written by the lads, music blogs from Chess Albanese, and poetry written by Adrian and Daniel. If you are unable to support with a monthly donation right now, we do have a Ko-fi set up under Dandies in Danger. With your monthly donations and Ko-fi tips, we're hoping to utilize these funds to pay for better sound tech to make the show as good as it can be. A future goal would be to make Dandies in Danger a full-time job for all of us. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoy making it. And now, for some Dandies in Danger.
Previously on Dandies in Danger.
Spells can be broken if we understand how they're set up, which we do now. He taps at the book in his hand. Perhaps we can understand how to undo them.
The statue at the center of the semicircle is a bearded figure with a long staff with a serpent coiled around it. His right arm is holding a goblet under the mouth of the serpent, so the water for the bath is pouring from the serpent's mouth into the goblet, and from the goblet into the pool.
What do you chaps think? Do you suppose it would be a silly little gaff if I were to take the goblet out of the statue's hand?
Zach, you look around the semicircle of the statues. You think, maybe I ought to look at the hands.
He's also going to touch the underside to see if there are any sigils or anything like that engraved on them.
There are.
Fuck. Yes, I'm so fucking smart.
Carved into the back of this hand, you see a small circle with little lines radiating out from it. Driven into this etching is a deep, dark red. And then you recall that you know a spell called Small Orb. Should we speak again before 12 o'clock?
That, I think, would be a good idea. See if we can confer on any findings.
All right, whose room?
Mine? Can Adrian have brought the goblet with him?
What's that?
Souvenir?
Hi, my name is Eli, my pronouns are he, him, and I voice Zachary Wilkos.
Hello, I'm Cass, she, her, and I voice Liam Bardsley.
Hi, I'm Chess, he, she, they, and I voice Daniel Pritchard.
Hi, I'm Toast, pronoun she, they, and I play Adrian Edwards.
The 10:30 bell is chiming the half hour as Zachary, Liam, and Adrian are leaving the bathhouse, heading up the grand stairs to enter the first floor in order to reconvene with Daniel and Dorothea, who are all the way up on the second floor, having been studying the books from Howard Bush's room. Now, as we ascend the stairs, we hear Nevin's voice, who went on ahead of us to check on his wife, Ida, and it seems that he is speaking with Miss Eleanor Audley. Thank you for the invitation, ladies, but I must confess that once you get to my age, 10:30 is more than late enough to greet the Sandman. Nonsense! I am at least twice your age, and I'm more than full of energy to play a little game of ribbon if you're up for it. I apologize, but I really must decline. I do want to go check on the missus. Oh, well, if you really must, I suppose that's fine. And as we walk up the stairs, we see that Miss Audley, Miss Chumley, and Miss Osmond, more correctly known as Miss Osborne, are standing in a huddle together, and they've temporarily delayed Nevin from going up the stairs, but there's an air of excitement about them. Rosamond looks a little bit more cheery than you've seen her looking earlier in the evening, and she's also been changed into a different dress, so she's no longer got her wet, damp coat pulled around her shoulders. It seems like perhaps somebody has lent her a dress so that she could get changed and be more comfortable. So we walk up the stairs, and then who's in the lead?
Probably Zachary.
Cool. Her eyes, Miss Audley's eyes, zero in on you, Zach, and she says, I see all hope is not lost. I believe these gentlemen will play a good round with us. What do you say, gentlemen? Would you like a bit of game of ribbon?
Oh, that sounds delightful, but unfortunately I'm very much tired and should be retiring as well.
Nonsense. I will not take no for an answer. You at least are all very, very young. Liam looks a little bit excited at the idea of ribbon. And Ms. Audley actually takes your arm, Zach, and kind of walks you away a little bit to whisper in your ear, and she says, and for the record, I believe that Miss Osmond is in a bit of poor spirits earlier today, and we were thinking that a game would cheer her up marvellously. Now, you'll be a gentleman, and you'll play along with us, won't you? Excellent! And Miss Chumley walks forward and she says, and I see that Mr. Bardsley has a ribbon of his own that he can contribute. We're that much closer to a full game. And she's pointing at the ribbon that Liam has in his hair that's tying it into a little queue. And Liam is kind of looking to Zach as the de facto leader about whether or not they get to play this game. Has Zachary ever played the ribbon game before?
No. Zachary has no idea what's going on when the ribbon game is being mentioned. And so, Liam's looking at him for confirmation, but Zachary's face is just confused. He's just like, what? And he can't say anything, so he just looks confused.
Well, Zachary, have you ever played the ribbon game before?
I think we have a bit more on our plate than games, don't you, Liam?
Miss Chumley steps forward and says, "Oh, you wouldn't insult us, would you? In fact, why don't you go get your friend, tall, dark, and handsome? I don't see him with you. Did he not accompany you to the baths?"
Oh, he's indisposed at the moment. Busy with books. He's a writer, so he's doing a lot of research.
That is a shame.
He's also trying to cover for the fact that Daniel is alone with a woman up in Zachary's room.
That's honestly a very good point, because the next thing that Miss Chumley says is, "We were rather hoping to invite Miss Crispin as well, but I checked her room and she wasn't there."
Oh, very odd.
Why don't we all go down? Should we check the library? Perhaps the two of them are there.
What was this game about ribbon? No, I've never played this before, and perhaps you should explain the rules to me. He's desperately trying to change the subject now.
Liam pipes up and he says, I'll go get Mr. Verdi. And I will share your invitation.
A grand idea, Liam. Ever the helpful one. And then you two can stay down here, or however many there are, can stay down here and tell me all about this game that I've actually never heard of before.
Miss Rosamond clasps her hands together and she says, "You've never heard of the ribbon game before? Well, it's very delightful. I've only played it at a few parties." And Miss Chumley pipes up. She says, "Oh, it is the most marvelous game. So I will explain the premise in brief. It's very, very simple. So there is the conductor of the game who will hold in their hand one end of everyone's ribbon, and everyone must have a ribbon. I believe we're a little short, but we'll scrounge up a few ribbons for everyone. So the conductor holds one end of each ribbon in their hand, and everyone else will then hold the end of their own ribbon. Now, the rule is very simple. When the conductor says loose, then the players who are holding their end of the ribbon must, in fact, to the contrary, pull their ribbons taut. And whenever the conductor says pull, they must, the opposite effect, let their ribbons loose. And so it is rather like a game where you have to do the opposite of what the conductor says, and the first person to miss the cue, well, then they will have to, there will be a penalty. And she winks at Miss Rosamond, and also Miss Audley smiles knowingly and waggles the pipe in her teeth.
A penalty? Of what sort?
Oh, nothing too outrageous. Just something like a little bit of a dare or a challenge.
I see.
But we simply must have more ribbons. We'll wait for your friend to come back to take that ribbon off of his locks. And does anybody else have a ribbon? Meanwhile, Liam goes up to let Daniel and Dorothea know that their presence is requested.
Oh, we're studying.
Well, we've rather been roped into a game, and some of the other ladies are inquiring as to Miss Crispin's presence. They checked her room and found that she wasn't there.
You're not entirely roped into it. You're here, aren't you?
I've promised
Help
my
me
ribbon.
Look. I've got plenty of things. We've got plenty of things to tell you about what is happening. So Lord Bush has been... I don't remember what... he starts rattling off.
Perhaps just for the sake of Miss Crispin, perhaps we ought to arrange a way for her to discreetly come down the stairs. Oh, a game of ribbon. Well, perhaps we could take a break.
We don't have time for ribbon.
I have a really quick period-centric question.
Yeah.
Is ribbon kind of like this age's spin the bottle?
Yes.
And would Daniel understand kind of the implications of her being like, well, I would like to play this with you, because...
Oh, is the penalty you have to kiss someone?
It can be. Sometimes it's dares,
So
sometimes it's
like...
riddles, and sometimes it's, why don't you kiss the person you think is the prettiest?
So I think, I don't know if that changes things for Daniel, but I wanted to, make sure that was clear.
It does change things for Daniel. Okay, if she's like, well, and she kind of seems like she might want to play with him, then his heart starts racing, and he's like, well, my only concern is, and he, closes the book, and he's like, my only concern is that if we even have enough ribbons. And then he puts the book aside, and he gets up and he straightens his... he pulls his waistcoat, straightens it.
Got him.
Oh, so you might be interested after all. Well then, perhaps I ought to go down first, before you, by a significant few minutes, and then you and Mr. Bardsley can proceed afterwards.
All right, that works. We'll do that. I'll see you soon.
Not if I see you first.
Oh.
He kind of raises an eyebrow that,
cute.
Okay. Dorothea leaves. She goes downstairs. Is there anything that you wanted to say before Liam and Daniel accompany?
I think Daniel would start rattling off everything he knows so far.
Wait, Daniel, perhaps
especially about the attic. I think that may be where he's hiding.
Oh.
The sorts of spells he's doing, it makes sense that he would have to be in the building. I presume. I'm still new to this.
Okay, so
I think all four of us should go up to the attic. Maybe
perhaps we should wait until everyone else is asleep, and then, after 12, since we don't want to be in our rooms, or do we? I can't quite remember.
Well, Nathaniel mentioned how important it was that the curfew be kept and that we not exit, so I presume that's exactly when he's going to be doing things.
So we should be out of our rooms, and we should check the attic once everyone's asleep.
Yes, I concede. But we should be careful. I still think we should be careful.
That's the watchword of the night. Enough time passes that Liam and Daniel proceed down the stairs, and whenever you get down there, everyone is kind of counting out the ribbons that they're able to scrounge up, I sleep in this ribbon to pull my hair back, but you're still missing a few ribbons. And right behind Liam and Daniel, just by a few paces, is none other than Nathaniel. And he's carrying a half-full bowl of soup down from the second floor, which you can surmise this is the soup that Francis Blythe did not finish. So he's carrying it back down to the kitchens, and he is immediately pounced upon by the ringleaders of this game, which are Chumley and Audley. They pull him aside and they say, "Oh, you must have some ribbons in the house, Mr. King. We're having a sporting game of ribbon, perhaps right here, and we were wondering if you could scrounge up a few of those for us so that we can have a full set for the whole game." And Chumley pipes in, "And why don't you join us, Mr. King?" And he blushes.
Yes, kiss him. Gotta kiss Nathaniel. I gotta kiss Dorothea. Polly. Nathaniel, Dorothea.
However, are you going to kiss Nathaniel in front of other people during this time?
Oh, fuck.
It's a game.
It's just a game.
It's just a game. Bro, relax.
Bro, it's not.
It's not gay. It's just a game. Relax.
Yeah.
I just get married to him. I'm like, bro, it's just a game. I'm getting into bed with him on the honeymoon, and I'm just like, bro, it's just a game, dude. It's a joke, dude. Relax, chill out.
He turns bright pink at the suggestion of this, and you can tell that he's paused and he's listening for a split second, and he looks surprised for a moment, and then he says, "Yes, I would like to play."
He's so touch-starved.
Yes. And I think I would have plenty of ribbons, enough for everyone. How many are we missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I will be right back with the necessary ribbons. And he kind of like holds this half-finished bowl of soup. He doesn't quite know where to put it down. He says, just you wait right here. I'll be right back. And he like runs back up to the second floor, taking the half-empty bowl of soup with him again.
Zachary is so confused. Zachary is just like, why is he so excited about this game? He had like a really interesting and is kind of shrugging it off like, I guess that's just Nathaniel. But Nathaniel is also in a dire situation with them. So he's just like, what is the deal with this ribbon game where everybody is just acting so weird the moment it's mentioned?
Oh, he's starting to like form some...
No, not really.
theories.
He just doesn't know what's going on. He's just like...
He's picking up on the vibes.
Not really.
That's the point, is that he's not picking up on the vibes.
Exactly.
The vibes are going completely over his head.
He's just like, hello?
Adrian would also be familiar with the ribbon game.
Yeah. I did want to say, though, that as Nathaniel walked up, Adrian hid the goblet behind his back because he is still holding the goblet from the bathhouse.
And it would be the second time that Nathaniel would have caught him purloining something.
He hears again
from...
Nothing.
Oh, man.
Are you going to try to stash that somewhere?
He's just going to keep it behind his back.
He will have to use, at least, I guess
I know. When they get, like, where are they going to play ribbon? In some other room, he'll hide it behind a chair.
Okay. Well, so far, nobody suggested moving to another room. They're just going to play it in this landing.
On the landing?
Well, does Adrian want to suggest something?
Yeah. Hang on a moment. Are we intending to play just here on the landing? There's not enough room.
There isn't?
There's plenty of space.
Oh.
No, I suggest the parlor or the library or something much cozier, at least with a fireplace.
Maybe the parlor?
You can't play ribbon on a landing.
Oh, well, very well. I suppose we could go somewhere, and an idea sparks behind Chumley's eyes, and she says, why don't we go to my room? It's very cozy, and it would be much more private than something like the parlor. And then she speaks in a lower tone, mostly for Miss Osmond's benefit. She leans in close and she says, we wouldn't want a bore like Mr. Higgins or Mr. Flynn to walk in on us, drinking sherry or something, would we? And Miss Osmond blushes and she giggles. That is Miss Chumley's suggestion.
Adrian's torn because he does not want to go to a lady's private room, but he also doesn't want Flynn or Sylvester to walk in.
But Adrian's got something to stash.
Yeah, so. Can't hide it there.
Wherever he goes, you should probably, as he's going, stash it, not just wait to get to that place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Be like, oh my god, I forgot, there's a ribbon in my room. I'm gonna go get it. And then he, like, hides it in his room.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's Adrian's plan of action here? You want to run it up to your room real quick?
Yes, he says. Excuse me, I think I might freshen up before a game of ribbon. I just have to run to my own room very quickly, if you don't mind.
No worries at all. Just meet me in my room.
All of you, of course.
We'll all be there. She kind of winks at Adrian.
He blushes, and he looks at Liam, kind of like, huh? Then Adrian's going to run away really quick with his toy.
Funny thing that...
Oh, no.
Hang on a minute.
I would love for him to bump into Nathaniel.
No.
So the funny thing is that Miss Chumley's room is actually right next door to Adrian's room. So he's like, oh, I'll go freshen up. And he walks, and then literally all the rest of us start walking behind him to go up the stairs to the second floor.
Oh. He turns, and he looks a little afeared, like a prey animal. And then he runs away further. He just jogs away.
Zachary shakes his head.
All right, so I'm going to follow the pack into Miss Chumley's room. Just to clarify who's with us, we have the 3 ladies who were initially on the landing. So there is the youngest, Miss Osmond, the runaway bride. There is Miss Chumley, the artiste. There's Miss Audley, the older lady, a retired governess. And then there's Zachary and Liam and Daniel, Adrian soon to follow. And then there is also Dorothea.
Is she at the back of the group?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody turn around.
What?
I'm afraid she's going to get spirited away. She's at the back.
She's still there. She walks into the room with everyone else.
Okay.
I think Daniel, while they're walking, would kind of sidle up to Zach and be like, you ever played ribbon before?
Ugh, what is everybody's obsession? I don't understand. We don't really have time for this. I can't believe you're willing to do this.
He smiles. You'll see.
What does that even mean? Why does everybody keep saying that?
You'll find out.
I don't He just goes quiet. He hates being, like, left out of things, but he's also just like...
It's a simple game, really.
If it's so simple, why can't we just push it aside and get back to what is important?
That's what I was saying.
And
But,
then,
sometimes it's good to take a break.
He's like, he narrows his eyes at Daniel. He doesn't have anything else to say. We'll end the scene there, but he's definitely like, what are you talking about?
He smiles and he says, I think you're going to hate this.
Zachary frowns.
We are now entering the copper room. There is one large window facing east, with dark coppery curtains on the window and a 4-poster bed. The whole room feels very autumnal. Copper-painted walls, caramel brown rug patterned with coppery red oak leaves, dark wood wardrobe and desk, a shelf with a collection of novelty lanterns and candles. There's a wash basin on a table at the end of the bed, and a plush armchair with oak leaf patterned upholstery matching the rug. A mirror with gilded leaves on the frame, long and horizontal, is hung over the door. Daniel, I'm gonna give you one of your witness tokens. It's your last one for this hour mark. And just as a reminder for Adrian and Zachary, you all are in charge of your own witness tokens for this hour, and Zachary has 2 left, Adrian has 3 left. So just keep that in mind while we're playing our game.
What does my boy see with his special eyes?
With his special eyes, your eyes are attracted to the collection of novelty lamps and candles that have been arranged in here decoratively. There's one where the heat from the candles rises to make a set of chimes spin. There's an old ship's lantern, not entirely unlike the ones that you encountered in Arc 2. There's an elaborate candelabra made out of antlers, and there's also a candle with, it's mounted into a unique metal frame. There's a circular frame in front of the candle itself, with a piece of glass centered in the middle of this circle. And then in metal letters, you see the letters P-R on the top, and then S-N-T-A-I-M on the bottom. There's also an Indian oil lamp made out of clay, and an antique bronze oil lamp with a small little spout. And what you notice is that there seems to be some spaces in between these letters. So like they're evenly spaced out, and rather than being bunched together, as if there's spaces in between these letters.
Could be more Latin.
Yeah, I think it is Latin. It's kind of Latin shaped.
Daniel's just stopped in the middle of the room and is staring at this thing.
Zachary comes up next to him and is like, you have to admit, for somebody who does a lot of evil magic, possibly, he knows how to keep a theme.
He's getting like S score in Animal Crossing. Did we already make that joke? We did. I think he would pull out his little pen and write. I'm keeping note of what's written on his cuff, and he would write down those letters to stare at later.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't necessarily like indicate them to Zachary though, because
I think Zachary catches him writing something and makes a mental note to ask him later.
Dorothea also notices that Daniel has been hanging back because they were just talking outside in the hall, and she cranes her neck up a little bit because she can't quite see the top of this shelf where everything has been arranged. Have you found something, Mr. Pritchard?
just this. He shows the cuff and then he kind of lightly, without trying to draw too much attention, points to where he sees the letters in the room.
She just nods and then doesn't want to bring too much attention to what you all are doing.
He definitely thinks in his mind how the P and the R are similar to what we've seen on the wall, uncovering the wallpaper. We had a P-E-R and then we had a line that could have been anything, an L, an H, anything. And I believe they were lowercase.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pair something.
And so Miss Chumley, meanwhile, is saying, well, why don't I be the conductor for this? So she's kind of gathering up the ribbons, and Nathaniel comes by eventually. He was not informed that everything was moving into Miss Chumley's room.
Oh no, he's like, oh, they have made fun of me.
Can he meet Adrian in the hall?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So he meets Adrian, and he kind of walks over a little bit excitedly. Oh, did we all move?
Yes, we're retiring to Miss Chumley's room for the game.
Oh.
Does Adrian still have the goblet on him?
No, he's hidden it away. He's coming back out of his room. He does say, how are you doing so this evening, Mr. King?
Oh, it's been a long night. But
good time for a break.
Yeah, I was going to say not too long for a quick game of ribbon.
Yeah.
Well, let's go. The last time these two interacted with each other was whenever Nathaniel caught Adrian stealing the books from Lord Bush's room. And so it's a little bit, let's say it's a little awkward. It's a little bit like he doesn't want to still be mad at Adrian in this whole situation. He doesn't genuinely dislike you or anything, but it was kind of awkward because he just scolded you last time.
He also is half employing us to try and figure this shit out, so...
Yeah.
So you have a brooch still?
He does.
Then Adrian will just say, well, I'm glad you have the time for a bit of frivolity.
I agree. Liam, meanwhile, takes this opportunity to say a little something to Zach, who's more or less sulking by my understanding. And so Liam kind of wiggles his way over, and he says, well, think of it this way, Zach. We may not be furthering our goals exactly, but I feel like this could be a very useful way to sort of throw the suspicion off of our backs for a little while. We're just here to party.
I suppose you're right. We have been very daring as of late in a lot of our attempts, so let the ribbon thing happen, I suppose.
Well said, Mr. Wilkos. And so we're going to start the game. We've got some fun mechanics for this, and it's very, very simple. I would like all of you to grab your D20s. If you've seen the game, there's a popular game that I've seen where it's people all lining up on one side of the line and you've got the conductor that says, yes, no, no, yes, no. And people have to jump from one side of the line to the other. The idea is that once you get speaking fast enough, you trip people up.
Oh, yeah.
And then they will, make a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like Simon Says.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much like that, yeah.
With fewer things to say.
With fewer things to say. The only thing, again, to reiterate, is loose or pull. And so you're supposed to do the opposite of what the conductor says. You're supposed to let it loose whenever they say pull, and you're supposed to pull it whenever they say loose. So the way that's going to work for our mechanic is that it's going to start off easy. Everybody has to beat a 1. And then in the next round, everybody has to roll a d20 and beat a 2, and then a 3, and then so on and so forth. So it'll get harder and harder for us all to proceed to the very end, because we'll have to beat increasingly high numbers.
Okay.
So Miss Chumley stands in the center, and then everyone is arrayed around her in a semicircle, as it turns out. Everybody grabs the ribbons, including Nathaniel, Dorothea, Miss Rosamond, Miss Audley. She's still smoking her pipe, by the way. Liam is right next to her. Adrian, Zachary, Daniel.
I have 3 more witness and I don't want to fuck it up again, so
Yeah.
can I use a witness to read everybody's vibes?
Yes. You're looking at vibes specifically, right?
Yeah, I guess just how they all feel about the game.
Absolutely. Okay. Nathaniel seems excited to play. He seems like genuinely pleased that there's some part of his day that isn't being shouted at by an invisible person. And he's looking a little bit sheepishly over at Daniel, who's also part of the semicircle. So there's that little nugget. Miss Rosamond is, as I said before, feeling a little bit more chipper than she seemed whenever you all first encountered her. I'll kind of tie her in with Miss Audley and Miss Chumley as well, because the two of them, it seems like they've been kind of making a concerted effort to cheer her up. Maybe she came down to the baths and they got to know each other a little bit, so they're behaving in a more friendly manner than if they were still perfect strangers. The 3 of them together, you've kind of got like the maiden, the mother, and the crone sort of dynamic in terms of ages. That's not super special or anything, I just thought I'd say it. The 2 of them are working together to make sure that Rosamond has a nice evening. And then you've got Dorothea. Dorothea is being very careful to not look too closely at Daniel. She's excited to play. It seems like she has also played this before.
Probably don't need the lad's vibes, but I do want Liam's vibes.
I'm gonna give you all of them.
You don't care about my vibes.
Well,
care about your vibes.
Do you want to kiss me?
Oh, no, not necessarily.
Well, there you go.
Well, then I don't give a shit.
So we've got Zachary's vibes are sulking. and kind of like resigned, but not like, you only know that he's sulking because you know Zachary pretty well. He's not somebody who's gonna be like outwardly rude about playing a game. You can just kind of tell by a little bit of the tenseness in his smile that he's not super into this. Daniel
I'll tell you Daniel's vibes, actually.
Yeah, please tell us Daniel's.
Daniel actually hasn't noticed Dorothea or Nathaniel looking at him because Daniel is kind of in his head. And then suddenly what would be seen on the outside is his eyes widen, because I think I know what the first word of the PR is.
Oh, so he's back to partying in his mind. He thinks he's figured something out.
Yes.
I love that we use that word.
I think I know the first word.
Save it.
Well, I'm burning with curiosity, but we got to keep going.
Yeah, I'll save it because it's in his head right now.
Liam's vibes, he seems pleased that they get to play another party game, just as pleased as he was for the dancing. And whenever he catches Adrian looking at him, he smiles, and then something occurs to him, and he just looks away a little bit quickly. Shall we begin?
Yes,
with
I'm ready.
the rolling of the dice. Everybody roll your d20, and you just gotta beat a 1.
What happens if you get a 1?
It's time for repercussions.
I got a 1! I'm not joking.
Oh my god!
I hadn't rolled yet, and then I asked that, and then it happened. I got a 1.
God.
Okay, well, we'll definitely say that Daniel's still in his head, thinking about the word and trying to sort through his Latin.
Really incredible stuff.
So, Miss Chumley is holding this bundle of ribbons in her hand, and she says, "Pull!" And Daniel just pulls it immediately.
He yanks the shit out of it.
And Dorothea and Nathaniel both, look at Daniel immediately, just oh! Actually, psych, hang on. I have to roll for all of them guys, too.
Oh my god.
Okay. They all succeeded. Ms. Audley actually came very close to pulling on hers, but stayed firm and kept it loose. And so, as I said before, Nathaniel and Dorothea's heads whip towards Daniel, and a slow smile dawns on Miss Chumley's face. She taps her chin and she says, "So early in the game, Mr. Verdi."
I apologize. I forgot it was a game of opposites.
Well, rules are rules. Let's say, to start off with, remove your cravat.
Zachary blinks.
Now Zachary knows what this is about.
Zachary whips his head over to Daniel, shocked and inquisitive.
Daniel, being asked this and getting the consequences, kind of snaps back into the, lusty kind of feel of this, and he kind of smiles a little bit, and then he makes a show of taking off the cravat and undoing the knot, and then sliding it through one side off of his neck, and then even kind of brushes his white shirt underneath to kind of expose a little bit more of his neck.
Blood is rushing to Zachary's ears like a tidal wave, like he hears the ocean. His mind has gone beep, he's processing what's going on here. He's putting together why everybody was so eager, and his eyes dart to the ground, and he doesn't know what to do or say, but I'm pretty sure he gets it now. His face is a bright beet red.
Whenever Daniel loosens his cravat, Miss Audley actually manages to do a low whistle around the pipe that she's still smoking, which is very impressive. And then Miss Chumley snaps everybody back to attention and says, "All right, everyone, let's keep going. And we'll do another roll."
So does Daniel play again, or is he out?
He gets to keep playing.
Okay, cool.
We all have to beat a 2.
I'm good. I passed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody passes this round. And
Charlie looks disappointed.
yeah, she does a little bit. And now we'll go again. Everybody has to beat a 3.
11.
This time, did anybody miss?
I'll pass.
This time only Rosamond misses.
Ooh.
I see.
Miss Chumley smiles a little thoughtfully while she's trying to think of an appropriate consequence for this. She says, "All right, how about this? I think we should take this out to the hall." Rosamond looks a little nervous and says, won't we be disturbing somebody?" And she says, no, we'll do this quickly. "All right, Rosamond, I want you to go to the end of the hall and spin around in a circle as quickly as you can, let's say 10 times, and then run back to our room. And let's do a success roll Oh.
Did she lose real bad?
That's a 1.
Rosamund?
That's a 1.
No.
She don't even get out the
She's
door.
gonna
She
vomit.
She falls right on her face.
So she
No.
Too much excitement.
Oh, girly pop.
So she goes to the end of the hall, and she's a little bit sheepish as she's like looking back over her shoulder as everybody like peeps their head out of Miss Chumley's room. And she keeps like pausing to look over her shoulder, but she gets to the end of the hallway and she spins around in a circle 10 times. And then she immediately tries to take off running, but she miscalculates and she falls into the gallery door and knocks it open and falls right on her side. And immediately the whole crowd rushes to make sure that she's okay. So I assume everybody comes to see if she's all right?
Yeah.
Whenever we all catch up to her, she is simply sitting there on the floor and she's laughing. She's
My God, she's concussed. Everyone stand back. I'm a doctor.
I'm all right, Mr. Edwards, I promise. Oh, I look such a fool. Oh, goodness. And she does try to stand up, but she's still a little dizzy.
Well, since Adrian pushed forward being the doctor, he offers the hand up.
She accepts it and she stands up and she's giggling the whole way back. She's completely okay. She's unharmed. She didn't take any damage whatsoever from falling over, but she's really in the spirit of things now. And so we get back to the room and we can do our next roll.
Okay.
So we have to beat a 4. So maybe she was a little concussed.
Oh no.
Because Rosamund rolled a 1 that time.
Oh my God.
Miss Chumley sort of shakes her head a little bit. She doesn't want to be a bully. And she says, well, all right, how about this? Why don't you meow like a little kitten? And Rosamund does so.
We're not gonna hear you do it?
Yeah, we gotta hear the meow.
Okay. So she... well, yes, all right, okay. Are you sure? Yeah, oh, okay, yes, I'll do it. Meow.
Adrian leans over to Liam and he says, I've heard much better.
Adrian's like, I've done much better.
Do you want to give us an example, Adrian?
No.
Well, I know what we'll be doing on your turn, Mr. Edwards, if it ever comes to it.
You weren't supposed to hear me.
All right, now we're playing another round. Have to beat a 5.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Zachary didn't beat it. I'm safe.
Just passed.
We're good. Okay. So we get to Zachary, and Miss Chumley looks to you and says, "Ah, and this is your first time playing ribbon, no?
Yes.
Should we be a little forgiving with Mr. Wilkos? What does everyone else think we should make for Mr. Wilkos's first foul?" And she looks around.
I was so tempted for Daniel. Do you remember that part in Amadeus where his wife gets pulled up and then he's like, give her a good one. Like how Daniel's like, he's so tempted to be like, give him a yeah, no.
What does Daniel say?
A lot of energy's coming off of him, but he's like, remembers like that his friend is trans and maybe shouldn't like, take his shirt off and stuff like that. And that Zachary also is not terribly romantic. So he pipes up and he says, well, it is his first time. Let's be kind. Besides, I'm sure he'll mess up again.
Just tell him he has to smile like he's having a good time.
There's a little bit of tittering in the crowd at that one. Ms. Audley actually pipes up. I think I've got an idea for this one. Here you go, young man. Take a puff off of that. Whole chested, mind you. And she passes her ghost man pipe over to Zachary.
Wait.
Witness token, please.
It's a pipe.
It's a pipe.
So you don't breathe it in.
Okay, that's good to know. So you just
take
hold
a mouth
it.
puff.
Yeah, you take a mouth puff.
Or she's giving him the wrong information.
Yeah, she is. No, actually, that could be really fucking hilarious.
Pipes are unfiltered. They're just like there's a hole, like there's no filter between you and the tobacco, so you don't breathe it in. You just keep it in the mouth.
Oh, you're using your witness token?
Especially on the ghost pipe.
Did she tell him to breathe it in?
Yeah, she does. I'm sticking to it. I didn't know that information.
Ghost pipe.
I didn't know that information, but I am gonna stick with it because she thinks it would be hilarious. And she is wagering that Zachary has never smoked on a pipe before. So, Zachary has used his witness token on the ghost pipe, which is excellent because as you bring it closer, you can smell this very distinctive tobacco. There is tobacco in here. It's not just fueled on ghosts. But as you see the sort of wispy face of the man that disappears and reappears, you're getting to see it in detail for the first time. It's a stern-looking man with a heavy mustache and angry lines between his brows and creasing across his forehead, and as you bring it closer to your mouth, you can hear muttering. You can hear him saying, "Arsenic, arsenic, arsenic."
Daniel's father has smoked a pipe, and so Daniel knows how you're supposed to smoke a pipe, and then he thinks that Miss Audley is purposefully, like, doing this to Zach, and he's like, that's a bit cruel, isn't it?
Zachary looks from Daniel to Miss Audley before taking a puff.
Well, perhaps not the whole chest.
Don't breathe it in.
Just a little puff in the cheeks.
Zachary looks back at the pipe, very concerned. Can I roll to, like... I want to deceive them. I want Zachary to kind of puff up his cheeks without, like... without actually taking any of this in.
Yeah, so if you want to do that, you'll have to add your influence.
Got it. So that's unfortunately just a 6.
A 6 is moderate. I think whenever you do this fake puff, Miss Audley is still close enough to say, "Well now, was that really a puff?" She's given you a bit of a squint.
He has asthma.
Okay, so like...
Why is I'm very curious as to Adrian's motivation. Why is he jumping in on behalf of Zachary here?
There's a ghost in it. He doesn't want him to breathe it either.
Fair enough. Okay. Go ahead and roll influence. And specifically for...
Can I have advantage because I'm a doctor?
No.
I got a 1.
No, fucking...
I'm sorry.
Fucking everybody just looked at you and said, shut up. Like...
Asthma.
Miss Chumley catches on and says, "Now wait a moment here. I'm the conductor, and I think it's only fair if everyone pays their dues."
Zachary just goes ahead and takes a puff. This is already taking too long, and he's anxious.
Okay. Just go ahead and roll me a straight d20, and we'll see how you take it.
Okay. 11.
Okay, that's firmly in the middle of moderate, so I'm gonna say your reaction is exactly what Miss Audley was expecting. You take a puff, it does sort of cause you to choke a little bit. You're not, thanks to Daniel's help and his advice, you're not breathing it all directly into your lungs. You do remember to just take a little puff, but some of it goes up back out of your nose as you're doing this, and it causes you to splutter a little bit.
Does the ghost do anything? Does the ghost come out his nose?
Could you imagine?
We have feathers. We could see.
Yeah.
It comes out his nose?
Yeah, you see little bits of the smoke that comes out of Zachary's nose whenever he breathes this out. It sort of joins the rest of the cloud of smoke rising up from the pipe, and it's still this man going, arsenic, arsenic. But you don't actually feel any ill effects aside from the coughing and the taste, which you are not particularly a fan of.
Yeah. He very quickly snorts it out and just makes a lot of faces and is waving in the air in front of his face to dissipate it and get rid of it.
Well, there's a good sport. And for that, I'm actually going to increase your standing with Eleanor and with Beatrix.
Cool.
And also, for the record, I'm so sorry I forgot to mention this, but I'm going to dare say that Daniel's standing with Beatrix and Ms. Audley is also going to go up after he lost and successfully completed his foul.
He did it with no qualms.
No compunctions. Okay. For those keeping score at home, Eleanor Audley is now interested in all of us. For Beatrix Chumley, she is interested in Liam, interested in Adrian, amicable with Daniel, and interested in Zach. All right. We're on to our next round. Everyone please roll your d20s to beat a 5.
A 6, I think.
A 6.
A 6?
Yes.
So sorry. Thank you.
Fuck me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so who's in the clear?
Adrian's good.
Daniel's good.
Zachary did not clear.
Oh no. Well, you are not alone this time. This time, Nathaniel failed and Miss Rosamond failed.
I see.
So Miss Chumley crosses her arms and says, well, I believe then that a competition is in order for the three of you. Let's have all three of you, give me your best rooster crow. Let's start with you, Mr. King. Give us something with gusto. Nathaniel kind of moves his cravat a little bit, squares his shoulders. He's game. He's ready to play. And he goes,
Sorry, are you all right?
That was set up too. That was a rooster.
Oh, that was your... Oh, sorry.
Very funny, Mr. Edwards. All right, Rosamond, you're next. Was it like that? I'm not around very many roosters. Was that okay? She seems a little bit sheepish about having been so loud. Well, we don't have any strong contenders yet, that's what I'll say. Wilkos, why don't you save this sorry state and show us what a real rooster sounds like? Give us your best cock.
He is...
Adrian can't help it. He says, good God.
He is not having a good time right now. He feels like he is being bullied. The blood rushing sound is still sort of in his head, and he's very tense. Like, feeling that, like, tenseness he gets before a fire starts. So he's kind of, like, really not having a good time. His arms are folded, and he's gripping his sleeve, and he's like...
All right, I suppose we'll let you off with that. You've been a good sport so far, but I will say, out of those, well, my vote is for Mr. King. What do you think, Mr. Edwards?
Me?
Yes, we're voting. Who had the best rooster?
Well, Miss... Shit, is it Osmond she's going by? Miss Odman's sounded the most like a bird, if not like a rooster.
I also vote for Miss Osmond.
Daniel thinks about it and he says, true, Miss Osmond did sound the most like a bird, but it wasn't a rooster. If we're going for rooster calls, strangely, Mr. King's is the best.
He brightens up whenever you say that. If you weren't already allies with him, he would definitely be allies with you now.
Excuse me, I have to use the bathroom, he says, and he leaves.
Oh, well. Can't be helped, I suppose. And what about you, Miss Audley? And she says, I think I would vote for Miss Osmond.
What do they get if they lose or win?
Nothing. A sense of pride at being the best rooster. Miss Osmond does seem even more pleased. Liam looks a little bit nervously after Zachary, who has just left. But the game continues.
I mean, can Adrian just leave to go follow Zach?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, he's not going to say anything. He's just going to leave.
Oh, Adrian?
I'm stepping out.
Oh, all right. Well, let's continue on as we were, shall we? And now it is just Daniel and Liam and the other fruit.
The other fruit?
Trying to beat a 7?
Yes.
Uh-oh, Daniel didn't clear.
Neither did Liam.
Damn.
So, we've had a series of failures now. Rosamond failed again. Miss Audley failed. And Dorothea also failed.
Is it gonna happen? I'm actually genuinely excited.
At this, Miss Chumley is now rubbing her hands together with glee. And she says, how interesting. How interesting. Why don't we have the ladies line up? And Mr. Verdi and Mr. Bardsley, I would like you two to give a kiss to the lady whom you think is prettiest without revealing who it is.
Wait, what?
So everybody closes their eyes? Or...
That's one option. So there's a few different ways this can go. Daniel, having played this before, has maybe seen this particular rule used before, which is that if the gentleman wants to give a kiss to the lady he finds the prettiest, but can't let her know who he thinks is the prettiest, then he will kiss each lady. That's one way. But another way could be close your eyes. Liam actually is going to step forward first. He's also played this game. He doesn't hesitate very much, and he gives a kiss on the cheek to each of the three ladies. That is the solution that he would pick.
All right, then. Close your eyes and don't look.
All of us.
All of you.
Well, all right. And so everyone closes their eyes. Daniel, roll with wisdom.
Is he rolling to kiss?
A very wise kiss. No.
14.
Okay, that is enough to see Miss Chumley's peeking. She's got her eyes squeezed tight, but she's like peeking a little bit to see who it is that you pick.
He waggles his finger at her and he says, "No peeking, Miss Chumley."
And she shakes her head, but then she's closing her eyes properly now.
He leans over and he leans over and Dorothea can probably already feel his warmth and his presence as he plants a kiss on her right cheek.
She breathes in ever so softly at the touch, but she keeps her eyes closed.
And then he backs up again and says, "All right, you can all look now."
Immediately, Miss Chumley is eyeing up the lineup here, as is Miss Audley, looking between the two of them, trying to see who's perhaps looks the most embarrassed. And so I'm going to have them roll with wisdom. Miss Chumley rolled a nat 20. And so while Dorothea is really keeping her cool, I think Chumley does clock just a slight bit of tension in the shoulders of Miss Crispin. Miss Chumley doesn't say anything about that. That's all part of the game for her.
And so all the men could see what was happening, right? Because all the women had to line up? Or did everyone have
Everyone
to
closed their eyes.
Everyone closed their eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nathaniel looks a little bit like he's kind of shifting from foot to foot. He looks a little bit antsy, but not angry or displeased or anything like that. I want to know what's going on with Adrian and Zachary.
When Zachary left, is his room in the same hallway?
This is the same hallway, yes.
Okay. So he just goes to his room. Pretty straightforward.
Adrian jogs after him. Zach?
I imagine Zach has made like such a beeline that Adrian probably just gets to the door when Zachary's already inside.
He knocks on the door.
It's open.
Zachary?
It's not really closed.
He wants to knock, though, before he just comes in.
There isn't really an answer.
Okay, he pushes it open. Zachary?
He turns around. He seems very tense. He's very red in the face and his hands are balled up tight and he gives you this like, "What is it?" kind of glare before like he relaxes. He pulls himself to relax and goes, "Yes?"
I'm just checking on you. I wanted to apologize that you got roped into that game.
It isn't as though it's your fault.
Well, I don't like party games much either.
What a surprise.
Can I do anything?
He breathes out and you see a little bit of like blue flames come out and he goes, "No, this just happens sometimes. It was a lot."
Do you want to lie on the floor? I do that sometimes when I'm overwhelmed.
No, what I want to do is I want to get back to what's actually important. And I don't see how wasting time like this keeps us all safe, because it doesn't. Everybody's over there having their frivolity, having fun with one another. He turns and now he's kind of fully facing you, and his eyes that are hazel are just a little bit brighter yellow. And it's just annoying, isn't it, to think how everybody is just over there just having fun, and even though everything is going wrong, that doesn't annoy you? That must annoy you on some level. Runs a hand through his curly hair, but not fully, not so much as to mess it up more than it already is. He just takes a breath.
Look, this isn't all on you. I know it's a problem because we can't tell certain people certain information, and I understand that would lead to a lot of stress.
It's not that. I just feel like an idiot. I've never heard of the ribbon game. I don't go to parties, I don't even play games.
Well, I don't blame you. I've ended up in lots of games where much the same has happened. But you don't have to go back into that room. We can bugger off and do something else. We can continue to investigate. I do need to meet Mr. Keene at the end of the bath hour. I don't know if you'd like to be in the same room with him, but you don't have to go back into the room. They're being bullies and mean, and I don't know.
I don't know if they're being bullies or if I'm just...
Chumley was doing it to be mean.
Was she?
Perhaps not intentionally, but I do believe she was in it for a good old laugh for herself and not exactly for care of other people's feelings.
He thinks about it for a second and he shakes his head and goes, "I think I'll just wait for this whole stupid thing to be over. I need a moment to myself anyway. It's how I keep the place from burning down, I guess."
Well, alright, you have a moment to yourself, but don't stay by yourself, alright?
I won't. I can't. We have things we need to do.
Okay, well, just have a breather. I'll be in Mr. Keen's room at the end of the hour. I imagine Daniel and Liam will come back to meet you in your room.
Right. I'll catch up. Thank you, Adrian.
Well, you're welcome. I don't know if that helped much, but...
No, it did. I didn't really expect anybody to come after me, to be honest.
Well, I've left many parties, and the only time anyone ever followed me out was the first time I met Liam. And, well, it meant something.
He stares at you, and then he turns his gaze to the floor in consideration before it flicks back up to you. Well, I appreciate it, in that case.
I just thought you could use the same gesture.
He pauses in consideration. It's not that he's thinking over whether he really needs it, but he's shocked that, Adrian came after him, and he offers you a tired smile, but as much as he can muster at this moment, and he goes, "Thanks, Adrian, I honestly didn't expect you to come after me, but, thank you." He smiles. It's a genuine smile.
Adrian does his own awkward, genuine smile, and he does a weird kind of shrug wiggle with his shoulders.
All right, is Adrian going to leave Zachary to have a breather?
Yeah, I want to go out in the hall. What
Okay.
floor is Mr. Keen on?
Hold that thought.
Oh no.
So you walk back out into the hallway, and you can see where you're standing is at the north end of this hallway. But the light from the gallery is still shining in at the far end of this hallway from when Miss Osmond had fallen into the door and let it open. And so, as you're looking down the hallway, something catches your eye. A small, minuscule shadow is being cast on the light streaming in from the gallery doors. And as you squint at it to get a closer look, it appears to be wobbling ever so slightly. Before too long, around the corner, a small doll wobbles, and then it turns and faces you from the end of the hallway, and it starts wobbling towards you, and it gains speed.
Liked what you heard? Let us know by using hashtag #DandiesInDanger over on our Twitter, Insta, Tumblr, and TikTok in the listed links below. We'd love to hear any and all comments, questions, and theories as to where the story might be headed. Want to support us and our lads' adventures more directly? Then please consider clicking on the link and becoming a patron today. For just $1, you can gain access to our longer, uncensored outtakes and blooper reels. For $5, you can have access to exclusive stickers, in-world letters written by and for the lads, poetry by Adrian and Daniel, and original music from the show composed and scored by Chess Albanese. Can't afford to support directly? No problem. Podcasts survive by word of mouth. So if you like what you heard, tell your friends, family, and local graveyard ghosts all about these exciting tales. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Dandies in Danger is written and voiced by Elijah Bergateris as Zachary Wilkos. Cast as Liam Bardsley. Chess Albanese as Daniel Pritchard. And Toast as Adrian Edwards. It is edited by Toast. Original score and music composed by Chess Albanese. It is produced by Dandies team, and made possible by listeners like you.